Welcome to week 3. Hopefully, we are starting to get into a little bit of a groove with discussion boards, and we're going to start getting into a groove starting this week with research. Wanted to take just a few minutes here in this video to give you a reminder of what you should be finishing up, assuming you're watching this on Sunday, and what you should be preparing for as you think about Monday through Saturday. First of all, don't forget that the posting to the discussion board should have finished last night, but today the encouragement is that you log back in, look at the discussions, and see if there's anything that still shows blue on the left side, indicating that you haven't read it, to make sure that you've read everything that's out there by the time you go to bed tonight. Assuming you're watching this on Sunday, should have all of those read to get full credit. So finish up discussion board number 2. This week, we are beginning with discussion board number 3. And this is I think, got some potential to be a really interesting one. The first two transition from clerical to strategic, and then the role of HR as a strategic partner. A little bit drier, perhaps. We had some good discussions, some great ideas. But this week, we're talking about the generations in the workforce, and we're hopefully going to have a few aha moments where we realize that we have, as HR especially, an obligation to recognize that people are different. People want different things. People have different motives. People define success in different ways, and we can't cookie cutter it. We have to, maybe the tendency of our corporate culture is that this is the way we do it. And traditionally, we've been able to expect people to adopt our way of doing it. But the new way of doing things, especially with younger generations becoming much more prominent in the workforce, is that we've got to step back and take another look at how we do things. So we'll look at the 5 generations that are in the workforce today. And the reading is a whole lot more for this week, because there's a couple of articles that talk about the generational challenges overall. And then I wanted to pull at least one article that I thought was decent that talks about each of the 5 generations. So there's like 8 or 9 articles to read. Hopefully it won't take too long to do. Hopefully it won't be any worse than reading a chapter or 2 in a textbook somewhere. But I'm going to encourage you to create posts and replies that look at specific generations within the workforce and what we need to do to make them feel appreciated, to make them stay, those kinds of things. Your first post to the discussion should be by Tuesday night, February the 2nd. A couple of extra posts Wednesday through Saturday, finish up on Saturday, and then finish reading everything on Sunday, as is the case normally. This will be the first week number 3, where you guys are starting to take on a little bit more of the ownership. So far, it's just been responding to discussion questions that I've created, looking at research that I have laid out there for you. But we're going to start in week 4, having our teams do the research and create the discussion and decide where the discussion is going to go. I've directed you so far, but you're going to start directing your peers. So during week number 3, Team 1 needs to really get active in the research. So there's a bigger burden on Team 1 this week than on everybody else. But next week, there'll be a burden on Team 2 that does no longer fall on Team 1. Team 1, Amalia, Lacey, Celeste, Juan, Sherry, and Joseph are going to be looking at recruiting, and they're going to be doing the research, trying to figure out what articles they wanted to read, 3 or 4 maybe, about recruiting, coming up with the overview that we're all going to read. And ideally, again, when I log into the discussion board for the first time of the week, I go straight to the link for the overview, and I read through the overview and kind of get an idea of what the topic's all about. Then I go and look at the SHRM articles by clicking on those. And after I've read the SHRM articles and thought back over the overview, I start thinking about the discussion board and what I want to post. So maybe Sunday and Monday are spent overview and articles, and then Tuesday I kind of have an idea of what I think about this related to the questions that were asked, and I start my discussion posts by Tuesday. So Team 1, I'm going to challenge you to get together and get working real quick. As you're looking at my articles for generations, y'all come up with your list of articles, and each one of you probably comes up with an article or 2. You pool them together, everybody reads everybody's, and now you're all experts because all of you have read 10 or 12 articles. And you decide which 3, maybe 4 you want to put to the class. You come up with what you think are the best summary points for your overview, and you come up with a couple, one, maybe two or three perhaps, questions that are really open-ended, not yes or no kinds of things. Do you agree that this, or do you think that that, but why do you think this, or in what circumstances would this be appropriate, whatever. Let's make sure too that as we look at recruiting that we don't impinge upon the actual interviewing and hiring, because I think we've got that set up for next week. Recruiting is figuring out where to go to find people, to tell them about us. What happens after we tell them becomes interviewing and selecting. But let's focus on in probably one of the things in your overview, team one, is that just like we used to be clerical, it used to be the case that we just put an ad out there and just sat back to see who came. And we can't do that anymore. We can't wait and hope that the right people come. We got to go find them, and we got to go entice them in. That's what recruiting is going out and finding them and enticing them in. So see what kind of good articles and SHRM you can come up with tied to that idea of recruiting. You're going to want to make sure that I've got your article titles, your URL links, your overview sheet, and your discussion questions by Wednesday night if you want to get the full credit on the team leadership rubric. But give me that information so that I can get that loaded by Saturday night. And then you'll start thinking about your team lead or topic lead assignment board, which you're not going to do until a week from now when your discussion has ended. But start thinking about what you're going to put in that assignment. All right, so this week, everybody is participating in discussion 3 on generations. Team 1 is starting the process of researching discussion 4, which is recruitment. And all of you probably making some progress now on your professional paper. At the very least, you're identifying who it is that you're going to talk to. You're starting to reach out to that person to explain the project and to try to set up some times when you can interview them with an idea of what it is you want to talk about. And then finally, this is the first of a couple of bonus video calls. Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, Atlanta, New York time. And I know that some of you are probably in California, maybe even in China, and I apologize, you're going to have to reset your clocks. If you're in California, it's like 5 o'clock your time. You'd log into a phone call during rush hour. I don't know. If you're in China or London or somewhere like that, you may have to log in at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I apologize. I just kind of have to do this according to where I am because that's kind of in the middle from both directions. So 8 o'clock on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, you choose one, all three, or none, and log into the call. There's some instructions on the homepage on how to get in there. Make sure when you get in, you share your video. I want to see faces. I'm going to, we tried phone calls last week in my org leadership class, and some folks never spoke and they never showed up. We never saw them. So I'm going to be prepared for me to call on you at some point early on, just so that you make an appearance with your smiley face on the screen for everybody to see what you look like. We'll just kind of talk about what we're doing so far. You'll have an opportunity to ask some questions about what's coming up in the near future, maybe what my expectations are. If I've not been real clear on something related to the paper or related to the discussion boards or whatever, it's a great opportunity to ask me about it while we're face-to-face. So the quick short summary, let's finish up discussion 2 and put that behind us. Let's get involved in discussion 3, generations. Team 1, start working on the information that we're going to need for discussion 4. Be prepared to join one of the video calls, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and keep working on your professional paper. I'll see you again. Well, I'll see you Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, hopefully, but I'll see you again in an update for week number 4 next Sunday. Bye for now.